and talk about Congress. As you know, has the power to name post offices after individuals, and the U.S. House. The Senate recently passed a bill in honor of their former colleague, Jim Ramstad, who died last year. And today, President Biden signed that bill into law. The groundbreaking bipartisan work of the Minnesota member of Congress is being remembered fondly by many. Almanac's Mary LaHammer shares how his friends, family, and colleagues are honoring Ramstad's nearly 40 years of sobriety and lifelong work.
Passing, people gathered at former Congressman Jim Ramstad's home for a farewell.
This is unbelievable. It's like, is this for real? I mean, these are your cut-ups, right?
You're a hero to me, and you were to my parents.
Many shared memories of the remarkable man.
As large as your political life was, you were never too big to listen to the small things.
Ramstad was in the final stages of Parkinson's, which would take him just months later. My dad shared that as a reporter, he covered hundreds of lawmakers, but just a few got a nickname.
Because of the enthusiasm and the energy you brought to the job, you were the rammer. Always been the rammer.
This is really, really awesome, you know? Thank you, thank you.
Let's hear it for Jim Ramstad's 39 years of sobriety.
I woke up, as some of you remember, under arrest for disorderly conduct.
Ramstad took his battle with alcoholism and turned it into positive public policy, leading groundbreaking bipartisan legislation.
Jim led with principle, with compassion, and with grace. And his battle with and recovery from alcoholism gave voice to millions of Americans facing the very same challenge and illuminated every aspect of his life and his service.
The Democrat, who has the Republican seat today, recently honored his predecessor.
From the State House to this House, Jim embodied the spirit of honesty, resilience, transparency, and accountability. He was a noted consensus seeker and a champion of bipartisan policies to reduce discrimination against those suffering from mental health challenges and addiction.
Now Congressman Ramstad's local post office here in Wayzata will be named in his honor, thanks to legislation supported by the entire Minnesota congressional delegation that passed both chambers unanimously.
Obviously, Jim was loved by Democrats and Republicans in the House, and there were a lot of senators that knew him. And I actually came up with the idea of going to the North Dakota Republicans because Jim grew up there.
It kind of seems people are almost fighting over the rights to, is he from Wayzata, Minnetonka, North Dakota? What does that say about him?
I think it goes to the power of the reputation of Jim Ramstad, where I would claim him as my best friend, as would most people that know Jim. Wayzata was where Rammer hung out. This is where Rammer told people he was from, and that was never a rap on Jamestown or Minnetonka or anywhere. Jim just loved this community, and this community loved him.
What I love about the post office for Jim is that, you know, he was someone who loved his district. He really literally would help people with their addictions, individual people, not just pass bills. He would actually take it on himself. And so having him acknowledged in his own district is really important.
The Jim Ramstad legacy will never go away. He was a connector and a uniter and somebody who knew we were there to get things done on behalf of other people.
And how many potentially millions has he helped through that legislation, through getting mental health and chemical dependency health covered in healthcare? It's a huge change.
I think Rammer would never care about the number, although millions would sound good. Rammer always cared about the one. Whichever one was front and center now, the person battling mental illness, the person battling chemical dependency, the person battling addiction, Rammer was front and center.
So bipartisan, so nonpartisan. We wonder if this is still possible in an era without a Jim Ramstad.
I think it is, and we're proving it right now in the Senate with this major infrastructure package.
Do you think this is where the country's at, that there's some kind of craving for folks coming together after such a divisive era we've been through?
I just think there's a lot of people who are yearning for commonality right now. It's the moment where you've got to have a cause larger than yourself. And certainly our country is that. And Jim believed that every single day he served the people of Minnesota.
I note that Jim was a Republican and I am a Democrat. May that spirit of bipartisanship inspire this Congress, and may his name grace the post office and the town he loved and the town that loved him back for generations to come.
Phillips says naming a post office is just a small gesture, for a giant in Minnesota politics.
I'm very grateful for all of your love and kindness through the years, which has made my journey possible.